let's talk about the state of Madden Ultimate Team right now. Now, first and foremost, if you're familiar with me, you already know this, but just in case, I am no expert when it comes to Ultimate Team. In fact, I would say I'm probably below average when it comes to my knowledge. I am an expert when it comes to actual gameplay, route combos, usering, defensive coverages, all these things. One of the best in the world at that. When it comes to actual Ultimate Team, the content side of things, the auction house, all the MUT block, all of the MUT things, I really don't know, but I can give kind of maybe an outsider's perspective on it as someone who plays the game every single day and is a bit more of a MUT casual. First and foremost, I think in terms of being like unique, cool content, I think they've done a pretty good job this year, La. I think the AKA promo was insanely cool. The Ring of Honor promo, it is coming out in like 2 days, seems extremely cool. All that stuff. I think they've done a good job of it, right? The speed stuff, the speed discrepancies, in previous years, we've had years where we've been able to get 99 speed Tyreek Hill in like November or December. Derrick Henry quarterback was like 90 something speed coming out in December of last year. Now, we're just now getting most of our players to 99, and we are, almost in April. That's pretty good. They did a great job of that. I think that they're moving towards getting more theme teams involved right now. Most of the year, Legends were the best. Right now, there's some really good arguments for a few different teams, I believe, plus Legends. I think that's awesome. My issues start to come in when it comes to MUT. First and foremost, I have spent way too much money on this game, plus way too much time on this game, for me to not even have close to the best team in the game. I play more seasons games than the majority of human beings who play this game of John Madden Football, and I've spent more money. I have to be in the top. I don't know. I'm in the top. I'm in the upper echelon of people who have spent money on this game. And my team, my team is nowhere near the best right now. It was a month ago. It was really good about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. It was one of the best, arguably. My backups and kickers and stuff weren't the best, but my actual players were. Now, they're almost all, literally almost everybody on my team, there are arguable better players for, especially on defense. I'm like, geez, dude. And this is from somebody who I play the game a ton. Now, maybe I should be looking at it from the lens of you're not supposed to have it shouldn't be easy to have the best team. But I also think once you start getting commas in the amount of money that you've spent on the game, plus hundreds of actually probably 1,000 plus hours on this game inside of Ultimate Team, I feel like I gotta be pretty close, right? I win. It's not like I win most of my head-to-head games. I'm earning coins. I think it's a real issue with that is the Weekend League thing. I think Weekend League obviously needs to be brought back. I don't mind the week-long structure of Weekend League, by the way. That was the move they made this year to make it a week-long. I don't hate that. I hate they took away rewards. I hate they took away the top 100 rewards and the tiered rewards. I think the Comp Pass has been a cool idea. I think it'd be awesome in addition to the Weekend League rewards, but I think by itself the Comp Pass hits so much worse than the Weekend League rewards did, especially because they miss on a lot of the Comp Pass guys anyways, right? And I get that they, it's every 2 weeks, so they can't hit on everybody. But they missed early, I can even think of, where they were missing, early on with these Comp Pass rewards. And it's tough, right? It's tough. So I'm always going to advocate for somehow to level the playing field between pay to play and, grinding and whatnot. It should be easier to have a good team. I will say this. Now, some people are going to say in the comment section, well, if you did the December Christmas glitch or whatever glitch, you'd be fine with coins. It should not rely on that. EA did not intend for that to happen. You know what I'm saying? It should not rely on, well, if you took advantage of this glitch that was only available for 3 hours in the middle of the day and you had to be active on Twitter and watch Xerxes and have his noties turned on, Noti Gang, Zerk Squad, Zerk Luck, it's no. Now, if you benefited from that, that's freaking awesome. Heck yeah, give it to the man one time, you know what I mean? But that doesn't count as being well balanced. I think we can all agree on that, right? Now, another thing though, is this is kind of more up my alley, and this is where it's actually started to harm me because I consider myself a 100% gameplay guy. I am one I love gameplay. Everything I do is gameplay related. That's what I care about. What they're doing with abilities now. Usually before, I could be a little uneducated on abilities. I never really felt like it affected me too much. It was whatever. I knew the ideas of all of them and whatnot, and I knew how all the AP stuff worked and the discounts and whatnot, and all the chem boosts and all that stuff. Now I'm at a point where there's so many, these new cards keep on coming out, and there's so many different discounts here, discounts there, And the abilities themselves don't even work consistently. Some of them do work consistently. Some of them don't do what they. It's all over the place. Where I'm like, oh my gosh! Like every time I load up, I'm like, I know I'm nowhere near optimizing my AP. And my issue is that when I do optimize it, within a week, it's unoptimized again. It feels like it's like again, it's already behind. With the different players getting discounts or whatever. I'll have pick artist and deep route KO and mid route KO for 2 AP, and now I'll get told a new card comes out that gets that plus short route KO for 2 AP. You guys get what I'm saying. It gets so confusing. These strat cards, I haven't used a strat card since like August, I'll be honest with you guys. But I know there's a journeyman strat card I need for +2 speed. That's whatever. That's just me. Some of this is just me not being a MUT guy. So I'm always going to be a little bit behind on some of that stuff, which is fair, right? I can't really argue with that. I can't be too upset. But man, does it seem like I'm almost like, I feel like I'm like, man, I think I'm overwhelmed right now with how much there is in the game and how many different discounts and stuff there is. And I don't know, discounts as like a umbrella idea, right, is really cool because it makes a card, let's say a card let's say these two cards are 3 speed difference, but you want these abilities on your free safety, and this card, the slower card gets it for 2 AP because he gets a discount, and the faster card gets it for 3 AP. That's a really cool dilemma that you have to make a decision on, because do you want the speed or do you want the discounted AP? That's really cool. I almost feel like they took that, though, and they went overboard with it a little bit. And not only that, I feel like before I could at least rely on archetypes, like man coverage corners, zone coverage corners, hybrids, whatever one support, all that, to like give me an idea in my head. But now I feel like I'd be seeing these like man-to-man corners be getting 0 AP zone, and these zone guys getting 0 AP man, and it's not like, it doesn't seem consistent, which I think only adds to like how confused my brain is. And I don't know if anybody else here feels like this, because I know there's a lot of people who, again, are very on top of things when it comes to MUT. I feel like I'm speaking on behalf of, at least relating a little bit more to the casual MUT player, because that's really how I consider myself when it comes to MUT. But yeah, I don't know, man. And it's getting to the point, like I said, where it feels like it's affecting me gameplay-wise, because now my players are not even close to being where they need to be in terms of having the correct APs and stuff on them. And even when I do, it just changes immediately. Within a week, it changes. And I wonder, I really don't know. I love the fact that they're adding content. I feel like there's so much content. I think that's awesome. I wonder, is there a point where there's too much? And I don't think so. Because the complaint always is there's not enough. I just wish it was maybe less confusing. I don't know. I don't really know how EA's thinking from EA's point of view, how do you add in more content to satisfy that want, which I can't sit here and say ever. I think it'd be really, really, really irresponsible for me to say, EA, tone back the content, right? Because it's such a complaint across all sports games. We need more content, add more content, give this team, that team, we need more cards. But is there a better way to do it? Maybe I'm just, in my head, I'm just like, about all the discounts. But also, that's how you keep some of these players relevant, too. So I see that from their point of view. I don't know. I feel like if I was just getting into MUT, I would have no idea what I'm doing. That's really where I always think back a lot of things, both in Madden and just in life. I always think back of how would I react to this if I was 16-year-old Civil again, 16-year-old Kenny. And I'm like, man, if I got into Madden when I was 16, right now I'm like, I don't know what I'd do. First off, I'd never win a head-to-head game because there's no way I'd have the team. I don't know. I really don't. And some of this, again, probably on me just not keeping up to date well enough. I wish would be cool if there was like a weekly roundup somewhere, just like straight up, and maybe I should be doing this, of what happened this week. Just bang. This is what happened this week. Every Friday. I don't know, maybe twice a week. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Bang. Here's this. Easy peasy. And just doing it like that. Because I feel, and then I just be looking everywhere. I'm like, man, I feel like there's so much different information out there of what's the best. I will say the good argument it's always fun, like what card's the best, what card isn't. If you guys watch my card gameplays, you know I struggle knowing what abilities, who has what abilities. It's so obvious, I feel like. All the time I get comments say I could have had a better ability combination. I'm like, I don't know, man. Maybe I might have. I think it's good. There's a lot of different usable cards. I think, though. I think that's always good. It's good for replayability. It's good for team variety, which goes back to replayability, I guess. And Yeah, it's interesting. I really don't like to figure out if it's more so on me for not being up to date enough with Mutt, and just staying on top of things, or if you guys also feel like they're almost it feels too everywhere. But that's really how I feel about it looking outside in. Talking about abilities, like I will say one hard thing with ebooks is that so many people have different teams, and telling people what abilities to rock. Everyone has different teams and they have different discounts, and I'm like, I and it changes so fast. So you buy this player who gets this discount, and the next day I'm using somebody else because a new player came out, and now I have to tell people. I'm like, that's why like in my ebooks now I just give like kind of like guidelines for what I think is important, and it's kind of on you to fill out the team because I don't know what team you want to run. I don't know what you can afford. I don't know this, that, and the next. I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Before all the previous years, I'm like, oh, it's easy. You get this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Now it's everywhere. Which overall, all these complaints I think are lean on the good side of I think if I really have to critically think, I want to say they've done a good job with Ultimate Team. I think it's way too expensive is probably my biggest complaint. I think that's my biggest thing. I'm like, there's got to be a better way to make coins. And for me, I can speak on my behalf on this. I think the way it happens is bring back weekly rewards. Just do that, and you're good. And from a economy point of view, I can't even speak on, honestly. You got to remember, one thing to remember with all of this is that they have little economists, guys who they have real degrees in the economics, and they are helping shape the MUT landscape with rewards and the auction house and the trade block and the LTD, all that. Like they have little dudes who like went to college to like preach capitalism, and now they're preying on 13-year-old kids' mothers' credit cards, 13-year-old kids' mothers' credit cards inside of Madden. So it's like, I don't know, man. I'm not smart enough to like give like real economic advice to EA because it's such a large scale. I mean, millions of copies of this are sold every year. There's got to be I don't know how many MUT players there are. It's got to be millions, right? A million, at least 1 million, at least, right? Because the amount of people who play offline is insane. There's a stat somewhere, I can't remember exactly what the statistic was, but I'll lean on the conservative side on this. It's like 80% of Madden games are played offline against solos, franchise, head-to-head CPU, all that stuff. Like 80%, it was some in that range, and it was like, wow. Yeah, it's just bonkers. So it's hard to, you have to have the full scope of things. Like, how does changing something for me affect the 80% who don't play online ever? I don't know, but it's interesting. I'm curious your guys' thoughts on kind of the state of Madden Ultimate Team. Where am I wrong? Where am I right? Again, I'm nowhere near an expert on this, and I'm just saying my raw thoughts on it from a kind of a casual look on it. And I especially have not been, this is the most in MUT I've been, and before Madden 21, I paid no attention to MUT, so I can't even speak on anything before that. It's just kind of my thoughts on it as it's progressed the past 2 years.